I've been a prisoner in my own home now, right, for about 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And it's because of Ian Puddick and Bill Maloney. And also, there's another man out there, right, who's doing the rounds looking like a hero. And his name's John Wedger. Now, John, you was the copper that picked me up and took me down to meet Bill Maloney the very first time, right? Let's not forget that. You took me down to meet Bill Maloney. You picked me up from my house, took me down to Parliament. I got out the back of your motor and I got into the back of another motor where I met Bill Maloney for the first time. Now, I meet Bill Maloney because I offered to help him with filming because I got cameras and all the rest of it, right?
As much as I don't believe a lot of what comes out of Brian Harvey's mouth, I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth these days, but this video that he did here is the moment really where the penny really kind of dropped for him, and he is genuinely quite angry and he knows something's going on, but he partly thinks it's about setting him up, and it never was really about setting him up. It was about the whole Bill Maloney, John Wedger, Chris Fay, Brian Gerrish, UK Colin, Lou Collins thing, all people that I have met. It was about discrediting genuine child sex abuse victims and survivors who were coming forward to name famous people and people of note. It was about putting into the public consciousness and across the media that these people are fantasists and liars and are not to be trusted. That's what it was about. The setup for Brian is basically just to shut him the fuck up. It's not about him. Now, who else do we know who says that they've been a prisoner in their own home because of harassment? Well, me, I've made a number of videos on that. And who else was there meeting Bill Maloney on that day that Brian first met Bill at Parliament Square when Ben Fellows had done his walk from Plymouth in Devon? Me, I was there. I watched it all. I went there specifically to watch it all because I didn't trust Bill Maloney then. And I'd met Bill Maloney previously at Occupy St Paul's. And I spoke to Bill Maloney and had a conversation with him where he immediately didn't want to talk to me at all. He deliberately avoided me because he knew that I knew he was full of crap.
Right, it's about time we have this shit right, because I've had enough of this, yeah? Right, so Bill Maloney, your funder was a guy called Ian Puddick. Ian Puddick bought me a Ninja recorder to go and film an alleged Operation Fernbridge witness, right? Let's have this right, yeah? And also, James Fielding at the Express, which is where that story went in the paper on the front page. 2014, January, right? We're down there on the 10th, yeah? And on the 12th, it comes out on the Sunday, right? So we had 2 days filming down now. Now, this guy who I filmed was made to lie. Why? Because it was to discredit me and himself, right? So he's been told to mix the truth with lies. So at the end of it, you can say, oh, the whole thing's bullshit.
So this is where Brian gets it wrong. That the whole reason he was mixing truth with lies was to discredit Brian and discredit Andrew Ashworth. It's not about discrediting them at all. It's about discrediting anyone that comes forward making allegations about known people with a public profile. I was actually saying that online, having met Bill Maloney at Occupy St Paul's and following what he did online, that his whole agenda seemed to be about getting people to come forward, and then if they had anything that was sensitive, to discredit them, discredit their story, and thereby discredit everybody's story.
But Bill Maloney has been missing for 3 to 4 years, right? Because of what I put out and what I was saying about him, because of what he was trying to do to me.
So this is the issue for Brian. Brian made lots of threats towards Bill Maloney and John Wedger and Brian Gerrish, that he was going to expose them, that he had truths, just you wait, it'll all come out. But at the end of the day, years later, nothing ever really has come out. And the reason for that is that Brian Harvey knew exactly what was going on right from the start. He knew they were making up stories to put in the press. Perhaps he didn't have the intelligence to work out that that would discredit anybody that came forward with real allegations. So this is the issue for Brian, you see. He can't actually expose anything about Bill Maloney and John Wedger, because to expose them will also expose him as being complicit in putting lies out into the media, fake allegations out into the media. Perhaps he didn't realise what the consequences were. At least perhaps he didn't realise what the consequences were until it was too late.